Sheriff, your counterparts in Buncombe County, Sheriff Duncan and the Asheville Police have said that they see 287G as imprecise, specifically because it's picking up too many people on misdemeanors, and that they see the Criminal Alien Assistance Program as a much more precise way to target violent criminals, which is why they've opted for the CAP program in the Buncombe County Jail. So I'd like if you could explain to people the basic difference between CAAP and 287G and all the examples that you put up on the screen of the violent criminals and the crimes that could have been committed. Wouldn't those people have been vetted under the CAAP program?
No, they would not. Absolutely not. The CAP program, again, those databases are going to start to talk now. There are 4 pilot programs that are occurring in North Carolina, and North Carolina is a pilot program for the nation to merge these databases because it's very complex. It was Cumberland, Wake, Gaston. I'll talk about the interoperability. It's Buncombe, Henderson, Wake, and Gaston. Right, and they're the ones, they're not on interoperability. No, it was 4. It's Buncombe, Henderson, Gaston, Wake. Right, and that means those databases at their detention centers are going to start talking. And they wanted primarily 287G sites because when a person did get fingerprinted under that separate database, they wanted to be able to deal with that person there and not have to send the resources to, Dare County, for instance, in order to send somebody to pick that person up, because there's time frames that we have to go by once a person's identified. The difference between CAP and 287G, the CAP program will identify people that are already in the system, the people that have had their fingerprints on file, that have committed some type of an offense, and they are wanted by immigrations. And 287G goes beyond that. 287G identifies not just the people that are wanted, but anybody that is potentially a person that is illegal. So that's the difference between the two. As far as it being imprecise, well, I disagree, and I think it's very effective. Those people would be alive. It was Latino victims, Latino suspects, and if that person, like for the first homicide that I showed you, had he been identified in Texas, I feel very confidently that he may never even made it to Henderson County, North Carolina to commit the homicide. And he certainly, if he was picked on a minor offense of an assault type charge, I feel very confidently he would not have been in the system. It would have broken that cycle of domestic violence and it would have separated those individuals. So as far as it being an imprecise tool, I would argue with you because here's what's going to happen. It's the crimes that will be prevented are the ones it's the ones that you're never going to see. That's what's critical. Everybody everybody's not, that's a bad person is not a big hideous ogre that has this huge criminal record. That gentleman that committed that first homicide, that was his criminal history, what I showed you up there. So those were relatively minor offenses that he got picked up for, and CAP would not have identified him. So,
can I ask a follow-up?
I'll leave this to the narrator.
Let's open it up just a little bit here. Over here.
I have a question for the sheriff about the checks that the police set up, and I don't understand, and maybe this is me being innocent, but you were saying that the Fourth Amendment, you can't go into Walmart and stop people, but what makes you able to set up a driving check to check everything? And then on top of that, you were saying, like, I completely agree, I don't want anybody in the United States that is harmful to me, regardless of no matter what they are. And I feel like, yeah, you showed me evidence of Latinos, but I can tell you from my own experience, and I'm young, that I've seen other things that white people have committed.
Sure,
suicide.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I guess my thing is like, I know a lot of Latinos that I want to stay in our community, and I know a lot that I don't, and I've seen things that scare me, and I've seen things that don't. But what makes me upset is that when they get stopped and don't have a driver's license, they get arrested, they get put in detention or whatever you want to say, and they get deported, and they've not done a crime except not have a driver's license. And they weren't brought here by choice. They were underage, went through school, couldn't go to college, started driving, got stopped, get deported, and don't even speak Spanish.
Okay. Then what you're saying is, don't enforce a no operator's license charge on anyone, is what you're saying. I'm trying to, tell me out here.
I guess I just don't understand, like, I understand the 287G in terms of trying to find criminals. Is that the purpose of it? And is not having a driver's license because you're born here not by, or you're here brought over by a family member who had to work because they couldn't make a living where they came from, and they get stopped and they're getting deported and they don't even have an option?
Okay, here again, think about what you're trying to say here. If a driver's license, if it's just a driver's license,
Yeah.
that's an arrestable misdemeanor.
Okay.
You don't want it, and let's just hypothetically say you don't want anybody that's Latino, that's hardworking, arrested for a driver's license, okay? Well, should we enforce that same law on a U.S. citizen, yes or no? All right, see? Well, that's the
But
particular
I know a
one.
lot of American citizens who don't have driver's licenses. They don't get deported away. I mean, where do
That's-
they go?
Okay, but here's the thing. Remember what I said earlier? We're here to enforce the law, okay?
No, I'm not saying, but I mean, what does that person get? A ticket for not having a driver's license?
In almost all cases of no operator's license, in almost all cases, unless there's something else, drugs, drunk, something like that, most people, Latino included, get citations and they are released.
Yeah, but I know someone who didn't have a driver's license, got put in jail, got deported for strictly only not having a driver's license.
Do you know everybody that I've heard that has said that?
I'm sure you say a million.
Well, I'm
not-
serious. I got a call about that from somebody not that long ago. That's all the reason he was picked up. That's the only thing, was no operator's license. Well, guess what? There was drugs in the car.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was, the person was going 30 miles an hour with the speed limit, and there was drugs and
But what about if the driver
I'm sorry, it wasn't enough to blow legal for DWI. And then when you trace it back, you go down and get the report on it. Well, it wasn't just the NOL.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I'm not saying, I guess my question is, if that is the only case of them not having a driver's license, will they still be deported? For
it is up to an
strictly
immigration court.
Okay.
It is up to an immigration court. It is not up to
But
us.
what is your job, like, if somebody came
Our
up to
job
me
is to arrest
tomorrow?
anybody, citizen, non-citizen, any human being that arrests the law. Our job is to see to it that the public is out here as safe as possible, period.
But
It
if
is up to us to enforce the law, okay? So regardless of citizen or U.S. citizen, non-citizen, the job is to do the job out there in the field to keep people as safe as possible. Those include traffic offenses. As far as your original question, as far as driver's license checks, they are routinely, the Supreme Court has upheld time and time and time again. A motor vehicle does not have the inherent protectability of you in your home or you simply walking down the street. Operating a motor vehicle in the state of North Carolina is a privilege, and it has been consistently upheld that law enforcement can do routine checkpoints in order to enforce that privilege that they have. Very effective tool for getting drugs and drunks off the street, I can assure you. As a matter of fact, when there's license checks set up, it's scary because it's all the deputies can do, just as fast as they can go to write tickets and to get people on their way looking for those drunks or drugs that are coming through. Yes, sir.
Most of the people, I would think, that don't have a driver's license also don't have insurance. And if they don't have insurance and they run into you and injure you or some member of your family, who pays for it? Who suffers? Your family does.
But
Not to,
Americans can do the same thing.
it goes the same for Americans or foreigners. If you don't have a driver's license and you don't have insurance, you're arrested and put in jail, and if you're a foreigner and you're here illegally, you should be shipped away.
And not
Okay.
having
It's that
insurance is
simple.
a misdemeanor.
Huh?
That's a misdemeanor.
I don't care if it's a misdemeanor.
It is a
or not.
misdemeanor. What I'm saying is,
Illegal.
it's a crime.
Illegal is illegal is illegal.
It's a